Welcome to the best Arendal 5028 review on YouTube. Alright, so there's a lot that I want to say about the Monitor 8s as well as the Slim 8. We'll talk about that kind of briefly. It's behind the screen right now. Let's just talk about the size first. I want to get that out of the way. I said this in the unboxing video that whatever you think about these speakers through photos or videos is wrong. They are way bigger than you think they are, both in width, in depth, in heft. They are really big monitors. And even when I was unboxing them, I was thinking, I'm gonna probably have to change home theater rooms to the bigger room because these are not only gonna be too big for the room in terms of size, but they may not even sound good in the room because of the small room. We'll talk about that here in just a little bit. But they are way bigger than what you think they are. They weigh 106 pounds each. They are the height of some tower speakers. They are way bigger than any bookshelf speaker ever made. I mean, they give you way more performance than a lot of tower speakers. It's crazy. So whatever you think about these speakers in terms of size, times that by 3, and that's the size that they are. So keep that in mind whenever you are looking to purchase anything from the 1528 line because they're massive, massive speakers. So the first thing that I want to do is talk about measurements. You guys told me that you wanted me to measure the speaker before break-in and after break-in because Arendal recommends breaking in most of their speakers for at least 50 hours before you full tilt them. So I've done that plus more. I've done way more break-in than necessary. So when I first bought the speakers, I measured them near field and in-room response before break-in. I kept my photos. So I'm going to show you guys a before and after picture of these before broken in and after. We're going to take a live measurement right now. So I'm going to pop up on screen the before break-in period measurement of these speakers, and then I'll show you what they measure after break-in and if there's any audible difference or any kind of measurement difference between break-in, before, and after. So let's take a look. Alright guys, so I have the mic back to its near field position just like before. I have the volume level set where it was before. We're going to run a full suite from 10 hertz up to 20,000 hertz, 20 kilohertz. So let's hit start and then we'll see how the graph looks pre-break-in versus after the break-in period. Here we go. All right, let's hit all SPL. Let's move this down, get this bigger. So this is after break-in. And let's see, I actually want to go through here. This is actually what I find the craziest. So they're rated down to like 16 hertz or so. In my room, I get about 10 hertz. I get about 10 hertz of performance. There is a peak a little bit, well, it dips down pretty quickly, about 30 or so. Drops down to 20, kind of goes back up. This looks actually pretty similar to what it did before. I'm going to pop up both. I have the picture of it here in front of me. And it generally looks like the same line, I'd say. Let me make it a little bit smaller. And go up and go over. So generally it looks like the same line near field. I have a steeper roll off. After 50, it falls off faster than it did before. But it looks like overall it stayed the same near field, a little bit different, right? Of course, my microphone is a little bit different. Maybe I've played around with placement just a little bit differently. So not complete apples to apples, but overall the near field experience stayed the same. Now I'm going to grab the mic and put it in my listening position and let's see what the Arendal Monitor 8 did. And this is just one Monitor 8, not both of them on. This is just the left speaker. Let's see what it does inside the listening position in room response. All right, so red is our near field after break-in, blue is our in-room response after break-in. I'm gonna get rid of the red one and let me pull up the picture of our pre-break-in. Let's see how it compares real quick. So room response before break-in compared to let me raise this up just a little bit. So there's no subwoofers. First and foremost, let me show you my DSP. My mini DSP has all my subs are muted for the record, because you guys are going to say this in the comments. My subs are off. All 4 subs are off. This is just one Arendal Monitor 8, the left one to be exact. This is its response where my mic sits, where my head is usually at. And we have bass extension all the way down to 10 hertz. It probably goes less than that, but I didn't measure that low. But let's compare it to what we see with the pre-break-in period. So it looks like we stay the same in volume level. It didn't really get louder in bass by too much. We still have a pretty sizable dip here right now between 80 and 90, 70 to 90, whatever. But it's solid. Solid bass, let's just call it 10 hertz. It's crazy. So you don't need subs, man. And I know, of course, you want subs to play loud, but you have plenty of bass with this. And this is just one Arendal Monitor 8, not both of them. I can turn on both of them if you'd like me to, but this is before break-in. The red one is before break-in near field. The blue one, after break-in near field. The blue one is after break-in in-room response. And you guys can see how they compare. It didn't really change much. I don't think that it got smoother or louder or deeper. I think it still sounds the same. Maybe they break them in a little bit at the factory. But what I will say is that the break-in is probably more for the speaker than it is for you. Loosening up the spider, getting the cone moving. Loosening it up means you can play it louder. You can put more power to it. You may not hear the difference, but the drivers will appreciate a little bit of break-in. Melting off some of that glue, whatever. So the break-in seems to be more for the speaker than it is audible, which is fine with me. So don't expect a difference in sound after 50 hours of playback. It's generally going to be the same for the most part. But I just look at the response, guys. This is one Arendal Monitor 8 reaching down to almost 10 hertz. I'm gonna go and measure both the left and right speaker at the same time for you guys so you can see this. Left and right, start. Look how much output you have in the bass region. We are smooth sailing right here. I mean, it's beautiful. It's beautiful work. I mean, to get under 10 hertz with it's not a tower speaker. I wish I could get you guys to understand how much bass comes from these speakers. It literally shakes you. It shakes everything in the house. I watch movies with my subs completely turned off and I'm not missing anything. That's what's crazy about it. I'm actually running my Arendals full range. I do not have a crossover set on my Arendals, which has really taught me a lot about audio because it's so hard to integrate your subs with monitors or tower speakers that have so much bass. It's difficult. It's super hard, especially in a room of my size. It took me weeks, literally weeks, to get it to sound good and to work together. But I didn't want to put a crossover on these speakers because look how capable they are. I feel like the more crossover I put on my system, the less I got out of it, the less my money was getting out of it because they just do so well. Not only do they dig deep, they are a very smooth response. Yes, they rise as you go up in frequency. Most things do, but there's not a lot of peaks and stuff right here between 10 and 70, 10 and 60, 10 and 50. I have a bad null right here that I'm trying to fix. Even with subs, this null is still here. But it's such a smooth response. It is insane. Again, this is without room correction or anything like that. It's just how these speakers sound by themselves. So I just can't tell you how incredible the bass reproduction is. And this is in a small room. If I was to put it back in my living room, it would be unmeasurable how good the bass is. So that's before and after break-in, not too much different if I'm being honest with you. Also, side note, I wanted to show you guys this too. I measured the Slim 8 center speaker in its position on Anthem really quickly, and it shows a response of under 15 hertz as well, about 70 dB. It's crazy. It digs deep too. It's rated down to 30 hertz. It gets well below that. So I mean, all these speakers are crazy. People were like, turn your subs off. I promise you, my subs have been turned off the entire time. This is what the 1528s truly get you in your room. Under 20 hertz performance. All of their speakers do. It's crazy. Alright guys, I'm going to try to figure out how to say all this without taking too much of your time. I do want to say, I did take some measurements of ported versus sealed. As you guys can see, the monitor 8s do come with port plugs. I'm assuming the tower 8s will too. So I measured the system with port plugs and with port plugs not put in. And the only reason why you would want to seal the speaker is if there's just way too much bass. But I don't think there will be. I think it's a perfect balance. Only thing that sealed did for me was kind of weaken. It didn't really lower the output in the low notes, but it did around 30, 40 or something like that. It wasn't the best. It sounds best fully open, unplugged. So I don't have port plugs in, but I did take measurements of both so you guys can see that. So I'm running my monitor 8s full range, and I'm running them with no port plugs. So let's get right into it. Let's start from low end to high. Let's start with the bass. So I've already said many times that there is a lot of bass in these speakers. You truly do not need subwoofers with these unless you just want to blow your house down. These speakers have so much bass that they rattle everything in my house. The walls, the other room next to me, the dishes in the kitchen, and they're not close to me. They really do rattle. They want 700 watts of power. I'm giving them about 310 watts of power. And even on that power, they don't break a sweat. I can turn it up to reference level. Even at full range, I can raise it up to darn near reference level, and I don't have any worries. They don't break a sweat. They pump bass at you. They give you crazy dynamics. They're incredible. So if you want a speaker that you truly, and I'm talking about truly, do not have to have a subwoofer at all, movies or music, this is the one for you. Just buy it. There's nothing better than it. But I do have 4 subs, and these speakers really made me learn how to calibrate. It made me learn about home theater, about rooms, about acoustics, about audio. They forced me to be a better home theater owner, because having 4 giant subs and then having 2 monitors that are pretty much 2 more subs really made me learn how to make it sound good. You can't just put these speakers in your system and let it go. You really have to make them work with subs, because like I said, I'm running these with full range. I didn't want to put a crossover on them because I feel like I was wasting my money. They sound so good and dig so deep that putting a cap on them just didn't sit well with me personally. So I forced myself to get these to work full range with 4 subs, and I think I've done it. I have a really smooth line now in my listening position. So I figured it out, and I knew that I would. So that's the bass for you. It's quick, tight, articulate, it's smooth, it's loud. There's a lot of amplitude to it. It's buttery. I haven't heard better bass from a speaker ever. Even an 8-inch sub, like an actual 8-inch sub, doesn't sound as good as this speaker does. Even a 10-inch sub, I would take these monitors against a 10-inch sub, and I think these would beat it in terms of low end extension, bass output, tight articulateness. This is better. They sound better than your 8 and 10-inch subs out there. Minus, your $30 or $3,000, $4,000 ones, no, but your $2,000 ones, $1,000 ones, these things have equal to or better bass than. I'm so serious. So bass is amazing, as you guys can see. Let's talk about mid-range, because I don't think it gets talked about enough on any speaker really. But mid-range is super important, because this is where I decide if a speaker is good or bad. If you have a bloated mid-range, chesty, very huffy, even stuffy sounding mid-range, it's a terrible speaker. This has none of that. None of it. It's so smooth. Even in my listening position where I've been battling the mid-range, it actually has a really smooth mid-range. It works very well. And I really like that it has a strong mid-range, because there's a lot of bass and there's even a lot of high-end. You need a really good present mid-range, and the mid-range on this is super present. I mean, voices come through here, songs, When I don't have a subwoofer, I need the mid-range to come through, bass has to come through. And again, the mid-range on here is butter. It's melted butter. That's how smooth that it is. And I appreciate it a lot. If you guys didn't know or can't tell, these speakers do have a curve to them. So all of the speakers are time aligned. And I don't know if maybe that's the reason why I'm falling in love with them, or maybe how good they sound, or even if they were just a straight baffle, I'd probably still love them the same. But the mid-range on this is people should study how the mid-range sound in this and then copycat it, because it's actually really good. I really love, however, the high-end register as much as I like the bass. This is sitting in a kind of a waveguide that kind of mimics this motion. When you shout to somebody far away, you usually put your hand over your mouth to direct the sound that way, right? This kind of has that same idea. It's an oval shaped, so it disperses sound not only right and left, but it also does top and bottom. And what's funny is when I was watching movies, I turned off my subs for weeks. I unplugged them all, and I was watching movies with just these 3 speakers, and I even invited my girlfriend to watch a few, and we both agreed that these speakers give you surround sound-like feel with their dispersion. They're so much bigger that you obviously see the speaker, but you can't tell that it's exactly where it's coming from, because it does a good job at wrapping the sound around you when it's appropriate. So when I'm when I'm listening to music, I've been listening to Dolby Atmos music a lot, and these speakers do a really good job at putting the vocals forward right there at you, but the instruments and the ambient effects and the cymbals and whatever surround you. So now you have pinpoint accuracy with vocals. It's super intelligible. You'll never scratch your head wondering what's the artist saying or what are they singing. It's super intelligible, but all the effects and everything that kind of gets you like, wow, and gives you chills. Oh my God! Wow! These speakers do that so well. Both of them, obviously, they do. So if you want to buy these for 2-channel music, there is not a speaker that I would recommend more. This is one of the best speakers for music that I've heard probably ever. And if Arendal said tomorrow that the price of these speakers are going up from $6,000 up to $8,500, I don't think anybody would say that's not justified. They perform way better than $6,000 speakers would, and I didn't expect it. I expected them to be good. They are way better than what anybody has told you. I promise you. So mid-range is smooth, high-end range is good, never fatiguing. The one thing about my Kef R11s, even in my other apartment, I had to raise the treble up about 3 or 4 dBs to bring a little bit of energy to them. They're so neutral that they're almost boring, right? Sometimes, not all the time. But these speakers, I didn't have to raise the treble at all. I actually took the roll off of them a little bit. Anthem had them roll off kind of quickly at the high end. I kind of tapered it a little bit slower, and they just float. They float. Songs, music, movies, doesn't matter. Regular TV, these speakers just float. Just imagine yourself high. High, you're just full of life. You're in space. Imagine that feeling, just floating and nothing matters. That's what these speakers do in the high end. They just float. It just glisten. And I really love that. And something that I appreciated the neutrality in the Kefs, but I knew I wanted a speaker that had some sort of personality to it. And these have a personality to them. It's like having a friend with dry humor who doesn't laugh much, doesn't smile, whatever. I don't know. But then you find a friend who's just, extra, who's out there, just, you're going to have a good time. That's what these are versus the Kef R11s. I will be taking these to my friend's house who has my Kef R11s, and we will be putting them side by side together to really hear the difference. So stay tuned for that. There will be a Kef R11 versus Arendal Monitor 8 video coming up pretty darn soon. So how do I end this? If you have some speakers in your cart right now, let's say you have the 1528 series speakers in your cart, and you are comparing them to other speakers of the same price, delete those speakers and buy these. Just get rid of them. There is not a speaker in this price range that is better than these speakers. There's not. Because these speakers, I would pay 10 grand for these speakers. With what I've gotten out of them, I'd pay 10 grand for these speakers. But you don't have to. They're 6 grand a pair. If you have speakers in your cart that are 6 grand right now or around that ballpark, do not buy them and get these instead, because you will not get a better performance. You will not get a better build quality. You probably won't get them time aligned unless you go SVS. You can't beat these. These beat all of SVS's lineup. SVS doesn't have a speaker that's better than this. So if you're comparing them to SVS, do not buy them. If you are thinking about buying Perlisten, however, Perlisten and I are in conversation of getting the R5Ms in for review. They're monitors. They are also the same price as these. And when I was thinking of these, everybody on YouTube, my community, said either buy Arendal or buy Perlisten. Only those two. Arendal, did I make a bad choice? We're going to find out. Hopefully we're going to get those in soon, because we're going to do a comparison between the two. I'll review the R5Ms, of course, but I will put them side by side to the Monitor 8s and see what is the better monitor speaker. So I will be getting those in to do a video for you guys. So stay tuned for that. But until I hear those speakers, I will stand on what I just said. There is not a speaker for the same price better than these speakers. And I'm not biased. I have no ties to Arendal. I didn't know who they were until maybe a year ago. And I bought these with my own money. They didn't send them to me. And I can send them back because I have a 60-day return period. If I'm wrong, I will eat it and I will send them back and buy the better speaker. But I really think that there's nothing out there that's better, because I've heard things that are higher in price and they were not better. I'm gonna stick to my guns until I'm proven wrong. So with that being said, I will end the video with this. Let me bring down the screen so you guys can see the Slim 8 really quickly. The Slim 8 is a sealed speaker, but it's really big. It's an LCR speaker where you can put them in the center, you can put them left and right, you can use them as surround sounds, and then Arendal says you can put them on the high top part of the wall to use them as heights. I don't recommend them using as heights. I don't really see how it'll work. One, because you lose the ability to angle them. You can't angle them, which is unfortunate. And they're time aligned with that curved baffle. You kind of want them to be as close to ear level, a little bit higher. But they are perfect for bed layer speakers, so I recommend them. This was rated 30 hertz on the website. Anthem, when I was calibrating, measured them to 15 hertz, which is crazy. They'll play 15 hertz. And you may not be able to play it super loud, but you can play some good bass with these with no problem. They share the same components and technology as the Monitor 8 does and the big towers. So this is a very capable speaker as well. If you're considering buying these as your main speakers, I recommend it. They're actually very good. They sound as good as everything else in the system. They have really good low-end bass. You can play these, not full range, but you can put like a 40 hertz crossover on them and be happy. And if you want to use them for music every now and then, again, they have the same properties as their bigger brothers. It will play music very well too, but I'm using mine as a center speaker, and it has some heft to it. It's better than the Kef R2C center channel that I was using when I had my Kefs. It's better than a lot of center channels that I've heard, and it's smaller than most center channels. Yes, it's vertical. It kind of has to be. That's what it's made for. I can't turn it horizontally like I would like to, but it's doing an excellent job in my room. Yes, it's a lot lower to the ground than everything else, and that's because my screen is acoustically transparent only underneath the bottom part of the screen, not the whole screen, so it has to be down there, but that's still pretty close to ear level, slightly lower, but it is what it is. I don't care. It sounds great. It's working for me, so I don't have anything bad to say about it, but I'll end it there, guys. Stay tuned. This is not the last 1528 video I'm going to make. I'm going to have a lot of them. So if you guys have questions about it or whatever, please in the comment section let me know. I'll make as many videos as you guys want about these speakers, because they're going to stay for a while. If you want more videos of the 1528 Slim 8, I can do that for you. Again, stay tuned for me taking these speakers to compare them to the Kef R11s. And also stay tuned for the Perlisten versus Arendal video that I'm hoping to get done for you guys too, because it's going to be a blast. So again, thank you guys so much for watching. If you're considering these, just go buy them. Trust me. And if you have any questions, please leave it down below in the comment section below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hit that like button, subscribe if you're not already, and we'll see you in the next video. KPS Guy out. Peace.
It's just like it's a cow.